Hi and welcome. My name's Tracy Marie and I am from the Wild Women Project. And today we're going to do a collective bone reading for the month of January to see what kind of energies and cycles and what's influencing us all this month to see if we can pick out some guidance, some new opportunities, and perhaps to see what could potentially get in our way in terms of blocks. So this ancient art of bone reading is a really beautiful divination technique, and it comes from many different cultures across the globe, including African, Celtic, Nordic, and traditionally they would have used full animal bones. So, but in my collection, I've got a mixture of trinkets and bones. Each one of them has been assigned through ceremony a particular meaning. So, depending on how the bones fall, depending on what story gets created from the reading. So, I'd love to be able to share that with you today. And like I say, the intention for this month, for this reading, is to give us some insight and direction into the month ahead, into January, to see if there's anything that can be in service of our highest goods to know. And yeah, we'll just see what comes up. I'm looking forward to sharing the magic of this beautiful art divination technique with you. Before I started recording today, I opened a sacred space and I called in deity, spirit, elementals, and ancestors to assist. And essentially, the bones are an opportunity for the ancestors to talk to us. So it's a reconnection to the past to enable us to move forward powerfully into the future with that deep connection to our ancestral lineages. And of course, any deities in spirit that's in service of our highest good are welcome into these readings, and to also create a sacred and safe space for these readings to occur, just to keep any unwanted energies out, so we know that the information that we're getting through is in service of our highest good on our life's journey. So with that in mind, and that sacred space being created, we're ready to begin the reading for the month of January. And just going to activate the bones and breathe some life to animate these beautiful bones. So I'm going to switch my screen now so you can actually see the reading as it takes place. Just bear with me 1 second. You should be able to see my hands now. And in my hands here is a beautiful bowl of different bones and trinkets, pottery, and all have significance to me. And, on my life's journey, I've collected these along the way. But for the purpose of this reading today, they're going to be in service of the collective, and whoever is drawn to listen to this reading today, this has got your the full intention of being in service of your highest self in mind. So if you're drawn to this reading, then you can trust that the information that's coming through is in service of you for the month of January. So first, I'm just going to blow into the bones, wake them up with the intention of providing a bone reading for the month of January for the collective and anybody who's drawn to listen to this reading today. May you give us some clear and precise guidance that's in service of all of our highest self on our life's journey to reawaken humanity to their true nature and purpose, and to support them in their returning back to their true nature and back to the caretakers and keepers of this planet. Well and welcome. Well, there's certainly a lot going on. Just give me a few seconds to calibrate. Just get this bone out here because this is my pointy stick. I'll see if I can zoom in a little so you can see what's going on. So there's an awful lot going on around the main part of this reading, which is the bone right in the center of it all, which is the U. So it's a fast moving month. And the main theme of this month, if you look here around this beautiful shell and this shamanic tool here, this is the main focus of the month. And the topic and the theme of this month is pointing towards lessons. So a continuation really of the energies of 2024, but a really kind of a grounding of this experience and like it's kind of like the cementing energy of 2024. So all the lessons that you learn, this is the embodiment period. This month of January is coming into the embodiment of those lessons, like kind of really bringing them home and back to earth, and to not just have lessons come through to us in theory, but it's an embodiment of these lessons as well. So what have you learned in 2024, and how can you embody that? How can you ritualize those aspects of those learnings so you can move forward powerfully into 2025? It's not just about learning lessons, it's about embodiment, and this month is all about that. And this is aspects of, like, pulling things out of the shadow parts of ourselves. What do you know? What do you know, but you're not implementing in your life? What do you know how to do better in? What are the things that you know that you've learned over the last 12 months that if you was to incorporate into your life, would actually have a really huge impact on you moving forward. So moving from the theory into the practice now into this month and incorporating those lessons and embodying them into self. So it is an invitation to kind of take a look at what you've kind of left in those shadows. What kind of, are you in denial about certain things? You might know, you might have the theory in relation to a lot of your spiritual practices, but are you walking your talk? Are you really being honest with yourself? And this applies for me as well. I'm a part of this collective bone reading. Where else am I not showing up and bringing into the light all of that I know is in service of me and humanity? Where am I talking a good talk and not walking the walk? What does my daily practice look like? Is it in line with who I want to be and how I want to show up for the world? And this is going to be a shorter reading than the ones I do in person. So we'll keep moving through, and I'll keep opening things up. And these bones, this is just where we've started here, just to kind of indicate, what the theme of the month is, and the theme is lessons. Now, none of this is fated, so we're coming here to the fated bones. So this is all up to you. These are all invitations now. This isn't stuck. We're not stuck in any one of these particular chapters of this bone reading. So anything that I've said or about to say is an invitation. So there is some freedom to be able to open up this month in terms of however you want it to look. So if any of the invitations that I share with you today don't align with you, then just discard them. But there is something to be said for taking heed. And if something does resonate with you, then you have the capacity and the ability to make the changes that you want. So this is indicative of this fate bone here. So this is quite a condensed little area here. So I'm just going to kind of open this up a little bit just to see what we've got. So it is, okay, it's interesting. So we've got those of you who are called to work within the spiritual realms. I want to shift this energy from work. So this kind of real structured energy that comes, like my bone reading is my business. It is to some degree, of course, it is my business, and it's a means of income for me, but it's actually a sacred mission. And this is an invitation this month to shift the energy from anything that any of your pursuits that are in the spiritual realm, to shift the energy out of business and into a sacred mission energy. So it's a realignment with actually an invitation to realign with what is the sole purpose of your business, and to realign with the energy of that, rather than it paying the bills, than it actually being an expression of your true nature and your true purpose here on this planet, to realign and reposition that energy back to its true place, to allow you to work from a soul and a heart-based position, which of course in turn, if you are able to do that and to shift that perspective and energy into the soul mission as opposed to a business prospect, your needs are going to be met in the process. So this isn't so to say to take your foot off the money making pedal, but just to shift the focus of any spiritual endeavors back into that kind of soul aspect of self, and project your business opportunities from more of a heart-based practice, and allow yourself to be intuitively guided, not what should you be doing, but what feels right for you. Only you can really only you know what your path is now. All of the guidance in the world can to help you navigate these kind of crazy waters of life. But for example, if you are promoting your business on TikTok, and if TikTok isn't your thing, then really you've been asked to kind of to start reestablishing and redefining yourself as a truer expression of you. So the intuition bone with regards to work is asking you to kind of really step into back more into spiritual alignment with self, and start to pave your way and carve that path out for yourself moving forward, which is more in alignment. What do you want it to look like? How do you want to express your gifts and your arts into the world? How do you want to express yourself? This doesn't just go for your spiritual endeavors as well, and it's a bold leap to take this into actual physically paid employment, because most of the time there's a structure involved in that we have to adhere to allow ourselves to be employed. But there is an element of intuitive guidance that you can use to navigate those positions at work, kind of move yourself through those energetically from a space of intuition, intuitive guidance, as opposed to doing what you think you should be doing and what you've been told to do, the kind of that kind of archaic structure. Now, structure is good, and there is an element of structure that is required. We're moving into these more intuitive ways of doing business and work. And structure is, of course, very important. Otherwise, all of the insight in the world will just leak out of a unstructured pot. So it's important to still bring structure, but perhaps apply some of that structure to hold space for your intuitive endeavors and your more spiritual endeavors to blossom from, create that sacred container for you to do that work from over the coming months. There's going to be an invitation. Apologies for my stuttering there, but there's an invitation here to kind of really step out of your comfort zone this month in areas surrounding work, your sacred mission, whether that's even in paid employment as well, to step out your comfort zone and use the support of your external influences around you. So whether that's your colleagues, your friends, whoever that represents within your work environment, is to use, to kind of take some advice, to kind of it's okay to not know. In fact, the invitation in this month is actually to let go of the need to know, trusting in your intuition and believing in that. But in other areas where you may have been stagnant leading up to this month, is to let go, a little bit of needing to know, and allowing a bit of the external influences to come in. You can still be very discerning in this. But in terms of like when we admit to ourselves, you actually don't know the answer to that. Perhaps this isn't the only way I could do things. Perhaps there's other ways that I could do the same thing differently and achieve a different outcome. So what this is going to allow for the process to occur and how the opening up of is that kind of letting go of the individualism, the individualization of self, and to allow the kind of the influences of others. We can become very guarded, and I wouldn't say boundaried in this case, but sometimes we can become very guarded and we won't even allow good information to come through to us because we'll be very conditioned to think we have to have it all together, we have to have all the answers, and the way that we're doing things is the only way. And there's a structure in that allows us to gives us the illusion of feeling safe and keeps us stuck in our comfort zone. And we can be pushing up against this comfort zone wall endlessly, tirelessly for some time, not recognizing it. It's because we built up this wall of protection up around us and not allowed any external influences in. That can keep us stuck. So this is just an invitation just to start gently opening yourself up to, with discernment to outside opportunities for growth, new things, new opportunities. And this is actually going to contribute to our experience of feeling whole. Now, there's an aspect of spending life alone in our comfort zones that does kind of promote this lack of wholeness, this lack of completeness, because essentially what we're looking at here is the movement towards community again. And I don't mean that in a kind of flyaway sense, but this individualization of our culture, of modernity, will keep us very much stuck in these prisons of our own minds and our own lives. And the experiences that we've had over the past few years, keeps us stuck in our own homes as well. There's many people trying to get the same things off of the ground, where collectively we could all support and help one another. So there's just an invitation here to start taking a look at where those walls are protection and where those walls can shift back into boundaries as opposed to protection, and walls again, to start letting some of those energies and influences in, to kind of crack open this comfort zone that we've created up around us. And this is a path obviously over the next 6 months. Is an invitation that can be started in January, but over the next 6 months, we've got a bone that's flown out of camera view here that indicates a time period, is the opening and the reawakening of community and filling that community cup. Okay, so moving back closer to the U-bone here. So we've got there's kind of an overarching theme, and there's a lot of influence coming in to us as has been happening for quite some time, as I'm sure you're all aware, with regards to the fear element that is being layered on from every single direction, whether that's to do with health, global issues, politics, you name it. There's a layer of fear being layered on, from every direction that we're looking, whether it's on social media or the news or even in conversations with people who are nearest and dearest to us. Everybody's got an angle, everybody's got an opinion. And this is just showing us here really the impact that's having on us collectively. It's instilling fear in us. But this little fox tooth here, because of the way that it's positioned, I was just checking which way up it is to see whether that's an internal energy or an external energy. Now, so this is the trickster bone. So this is just a reminder to not believe everything that's coming your way. It is to have some discernment from the collective information that we're bombarded with. It is responsible for causing a large amount of fear. I'm probably saying something that you all already know anyway, but this is a heavy reminder of the influence here. It's right on top of us now, like they're layering it on thick, and there's a discernment required. Actually, we don't even realize the impact of that and how that is instilling fear in us and our inability to be able to move forward in areas of our lives that we just don't think are connected to the information that we're being bombarded with. But this is impacting our health. So this is an invitation really this month is to see where, where we're allowing those external influences, those kind of lies, those non-truths. How is this affecting not just our physical, but emotional and spiritual health, but also our health and relationships to others as well? Where are our differences? Where are we allowing them to create division? These energies are handed over to us, and then we become the prison keepers, the prison guards um, of our own lives, our own families, and the communities as well. It's really the liberation. Freedom is indiscriminate, and the them and us, any energies that might be surrounding you between people with different opinions of you, just recognize that there is potential for growth in the inclusion and to remove this division that's occurring within communities. And essentially, these divisions can only occur if we partake in them. So yes, we can all be looking outward and asking other people and governments and community leaders to stop being so, divisive. But where can we take a look really, in our immediate families and communities where we're actually contributing to that divisiveness that's going on, because it's been built on a foundation of dishonesty. And if we're just acting out the energies of this dishonesty, then we're contributing to the bigger picture of this separation, which ultimately is going to lead to so much more devastation. And really sometimes the only thing that we can control is our immediacy, and even then it can be illusionary. But this is an invitation to step beyond the illusions and the lies that we're being told, recognize where that's instilling fear in us and affecting us on an emotional, physical, spiritual level, and where we can dismantle and disarm that, kind of burn that away. I'm just going to turn this home, turn this bone here. So the potential this month is there's a lot, there's always a lot right now. If we'd been reading these bones 50, 60 years ago, there'd be much softer energy, but we all know energies are high. Life is changing, things are happening fast. There's a lot to be said. A lot can happen in a month, a lot can happen in a day. And we're very often we wake up in the morning and we go to bed different people every single day. So this is a real coming home to self as well. Like it's a real tender kind of caretaking, and really with the motivation behind the work that I do is my sacred mission is to kind of assist in the reawakening of humanity back to its true nature and purpose, which is of the caretaking role and not this grind and progress role. And again, this is going to be influenced and this is going to be influenced. It's going to show up in my readings, as this is the intention that I blew into them as well. But this is a coming home to self. So it's not necessary to always be progressing and grind. In this grind culture that's going on, always moving forward, growth. Sometimes it's about coming home and tending to the garden and the seeds that we've already planted. So it's like, planting a lovely garden full of seeds and then disappearing off onto the next project, and wondering why we go back to the garden, why nothing's grown. And it's because there's an invitation now, and there's an invitation for a fast movement in terms of this, is to start taking a look at what needs tending to in the home front. So this is the home bone here. And let me just check in to see which way around these are all going. So there's a big invitation with the ladybird and this other fox tooth here for this to be a very, very important invitation for everybody to take heed of. It's to step back into the heart space. It's to open to bring the structure into the heart. So heart, we obviously relate the heart to, to kind of intuitive, free flowing and expressionate, but creating containers around the heart can, and I don't mean like protective layers, but like a beautiful kind of holy grail, like a bowl to hold things in. So everything that we're putting into this bowl can be contained. So we have to build the structure of these energetic structures around us to be able to contain all of these hopes and dreams of our heart. And this invitation here is a fast movement forward this month, unlocking things that might not have ordinary been available to our perception, seeing things outside of the tunnel vision, really coming home to ourselves and start being influenced by, something which is much deeper than the ordinary mindset. So it's going beyond those kind of conditioned way of thinking and feeling, and to step beyond a much deeper kind of more kind of almost more kind of primal understanding, a natural law, a natural connection to kind of being on the right side of stuff. um, and that doesn't necessarily mean having kind of opinions that are contrary to specific things or to be anti this or um, there's an invitation to go much deeper than that. So there's a much more simpler energy that we're all being guided towards this month, which is the unlocking of secrets, the fast movement forward back into an innate, deeper, more internal kind of guidance system, which is essentially where we all belong within a home within a home within a home. So there's like a home within ourselves that we can go to where we know without knowing. Um, what it is to be on the right side of the future. And this is a seed planting exercise in January. This isn't to say that you've got to have it all together, but this influence is coming in thick and fast right now to build this structure in around the heart space, to hold the heart, but essentially a movement towards the heart, out of the head into the heart, but back into maybe some wise culture, more ancestral ways of being, more reconnection to self, more reconnection to home, that home within ourselves, but also that reconnection to land, country, whatever it is that you regard as your home. Is to be observing and moving through this next chapter over the month from that more heart space, heart-based perspective. This is going to plant new seeds and it's going to reawaken an innocence in us. And like I say, it's just the seed planting months. You don't have to kind of have all of this together over the next 4 weeks, but this is the seed planting to reawaken this innocence within us, within humanity now, to see the world through the eyes of a child once again, to see your home, yourself, your family, your neighborhood, your community, to see the beautiful landscapes through the eyes of a child once more, to reawaken that wonder that is essential really for us to move forward as a species, but also, in support of this planet on a micro level in terms of what we can do in the big cosmic cycles of everything that are going on, but just to kind of caretake and take care of what it is that we call home. Now and we're just going to move into the north part of the reading now. And we're going to be seeing some new doors opening for a lot of us this month as well, and a real invitation and opening up for an abundant connection and um a real reconnection as well. There's a lot happening here. There's some things that need to be let go of. So the remnants of 2024, again, this isn't necessary an invitation to be writing loads of New Year's resolutions, but a letting go of things that are no longer in service of what can you do less of this month? What can you do less of even this year? Moving forward, letting go of the things that are not in service of you. No longer do you have to carry on the weight of things that you just don't want to do anymore. January is an invitation to let go of these things. And it could be something that you even think is potentially quite good for you. The invitation is to let things fall away, whatever it is that needs to fall away this month. And these can be projects or ideas that you've kind of put a lot of love and effort into. But just check in with yourself this month. Is this really how I want to move forward? Well, do I still want to be doing that? Is that still who I am? Am I the same person that I was when I started that? Perhaps not. So it's okay. This isn't about giving up. In fact, there's actually a lot of strength that's required to give something up. So regard anything that you're letting go of this month as an act of strength. This is actually not in service of you. This is going to open up new beginnings. It's going to allow things to fall away for us, letting go of things that are no longer of service to you, whether that's people, situations, circumstances, jobs, um, aspects of business, spiritual pursuits, something that you just flog in for the sake of flogging because you've always done it. Sometimes those are the things that need to fall away. It can be a lot of different things. It's not indicating individual journeys here, but a collective shift, a collective, and it's coming up as a sacrifice. So it can actually come around with a bit of an energy in terms of like, oh, I don't really know if I want to let this go. It feels like I'm losing something, but trust in the magic of the loss. Like, so from the loss, what's going to happen to that energy? It's going to become the mulch and the compost for the new things to come. So it is a bit of a trust fall on the universe this month. There's going to be some things that is going to lead you to feel perhaps a little bit shaky and giving up, but just trust that it's actually going to come good for you. And it's going to allow this new beautiful flow of creative force to come through you. And also as well the realization of hopes and dreams. So it can sometimes we can experience well, waves, big waves when we're making changes, and it's not necessarily we don't always have to partake in the waves. Sometimes we can move beyond the waves. Sometimes we need to learn how to ride them. And January may be a month of that. It's just expecting a few, perhaps the severance of things that are no longer in service of you is going to cause some of those waves to occur. But learn to ride the waves. Trust that each one of those waves is going to break and take you back to the shore again. But also the gift of that, what's coming up for you on the shore, is a realization of something that wasn't necessarily available to you before because you're holding on to these old energies. So also an invitation as well, which is coming. It's all kind of in of course, the whole reading's interlinked, but an invitation to just pay close attention to the thoughts that you're having. Bring those into the light as well. Insidious thought patterns. It's taking them into the elements. Go and standing out in the wind and let the wind take care of them. Let them blow away any thought processes that aren't in service of you. We're again coming from this individualized modernity that we live in. We claim everything as our own. We have to claim our thoughts and feelings as our own. And in fact, sometimes they're actually not. We just feed them so they keep coming back. So this is about bringing those thoughts into the light, bringing them, taking them back out into the wild and letting them go again. So thought patterns, negative thought patterns, anything really that's not in service of you having an abundant, beautiful life. This is your invitation to take them back out into nature. And very much like when we put our feet in the ground, when we're grounding, we actually have a somatic experience of that element. And when we stand in the wind with the intention of letting our thoughts be blown away, we'll have a somatic release as well. And you'll find that bringing those aspects of self back to nature and allowing nature to take care of some of the things that need composting. That's your invitation this month. To kind of really let go. You don't have to own everything that comes your way. You don't have to own all of those thoughts. To protect yourself and guard yourself from them, because they can really get in the way of us all being able to move forward into our new beginnings. We're going to be able to see potential for growth in that kind of guardianship of our thought patterns. It's not about being open to all. We need to be guarded, and our thoughts are one of those things that need to be protected. So only feed the good ones. And this is the potential for lots of things this month to open up as well. And this is beautiful Japanese coin is facing in my favorite direction, which is the gold side up, which indicates abundance. Now, this can relate to a number of different things financially and abundance of, but really in the month of January for the collective reading, it's shown abundance of waves and hopes and dreams being realized. So that it's a very fruitful month, which can obviously then lead to kind of more financial implications in the future. But the energy of this reading is about opening new doors, new chapters, riding those waves, really seeing those hopes and dreams as new possibilities. But in the process of that, how to get there, the bones are telling us how to get there is we've got to give some stuff up to create some space, clear this container out, patch it up where it needs to, and to really start taking care of practicing what it is that we preach, opening our hearts, really listening to that internal guidance and our intuitive way to bring ourselves back home to ourselves, move forward quickly in those areas. It's really important, imperative this year that we start coming home to ourselves because it's going to unlock so much more benefit for us moving forward in our health. like I say, this overarching energy of this month is, the kind of embodiment of the lessons that we've learned from the previous year, and opening ourselves up and shifting our energy from progress into caretaking, into spiritual vision and sacred missions, as opposed to business plans and grind culture. Letting a few trusted energies back in to build up that, to start recultivating that feeling of wholeness and belonging and completeness that all of us are experiencing to some degree and missing of. And this is going to open out into the new year as being able to, to start filling that community cup again. So with all that in mind, there's obviously a lot going on for January. It is a beautiful month, lots of composting, getting rid of stuff that no longer serves us, embodying the things that we know that are in service of us and our communities, and moving forward from that position, from a heart-based perspective, from an intuitive perspective, and moving into an energy of caretaking and growth within what we've already planted. So I do hope that's been of some assistance to you. Back on the main screen now, I do hope that's been of some help and giving you some guidance with regards to the energies of the month ahead, and give you an insight into these beautiful bones and the energy of them, and really the depth and complexity that the bones can bring. And they're just such a wonderful, beautiful way to read. And some of you may have already had bone readings with me, but I am available in person in Perth for bone readings for the next few weeks, but also online as well. They make for really good, beautiful readings online. But if it's of interest to anybody, I'm doing an introduction to bone reading. It's a free kind of workshop on the 11th, on Saturday, the 11th of January. So in Western Australia, that will be between 6 and 7:30 in the afternoon. In England and Ireland, that'll be at 10 in the morning till 11:30. And it will be recorded, but please do give me a shout. Send me a message with your email address, and I can send you the link if you'd love to attend. Also, very excitingly, I'm planning on opening up a container for a beginner's bone reading workshop. So I'll talk more about that in my free introduction to bone reading on Saturday the 11th. But if you'd like to express an interest in coming along, I think perhaps maybe it's going to be like a 4-week container where I teach you the basic art of bone reading, so you can start reading for yourself and start building your bone collection, and a really beautiful introduction into how to read the bones for yourself and perhaps your family and friends. And then ongoing, a really incredible spiritual mentorship container where I'll be doing a really deep dive over perhaps a 6-month period with a select few people who'd like to apply for that kind of more one-to-one spiritual mentorship, where we'll be delving into trance states, alternate reality spaces, intuitive training on a much deeper level, so we can really embody bone reading, deep connection to ancestors and spirit, to deities, to elementals, into guardianship and protection, which is incredibly important when working with the bones as well, because we are working with ancient energies, and a real cultivation of some of the old ways and the wise cultures' understandings, to reawaken our senses as human beings to our full potential, which is far beyond the capacity what we've been led to believe is available. So it's a really exciting container. Please let me know if any of those things are of interest to you. We have the free introduction to bone reading on Saturday the 11th, a short introduction, a beginners workshops series into bone reading, and then the deep dive container for the spiritual mentorship with myself over a 6-month period. So lots of different options. And of course, if you'd like a personal bone reading, then give me a shout. I'd love to read your bones. Any questions, please let me know. I look forward to being able to do this on a monthly basis. So do sign up to my Facebook group or to my YouTube channel, or to my emailing list, tracy@wildwomenproject.com, if you'd like to be kept up to date with everything without having to go search for it. It's been an absolute pleasure reading for you all. All the best and lots of love for January and the year ahead.